Hi everyone, and welcome to another daily video from Shopify Dropshipping Lifestyle. My name is Ricky Hayes, and in today's video we're all going into the metrics to look at to determine if you want to kill an ad, if you want to leave it alive, etc, etc. So it's all about Facebook ad metrics. Okay, let's get straight into it. So in this one, the reason that I partly brought this up is because I see a lot of questions being asked. Admittedly, I'm not absolutely perfect with this either. I make a lot of mistakes. There's no denying that. So, I'm more or less saying that at the end of the day, when it comes to killing an ad, a lot of the time it comes up to your gut feeling. It can be pretty hard. Like I'm actually myself going through quite a big restructure of my ads last month was working extremely well for a number of them. This month it's not, and so profit margins are a bit lower, and so you have to sort of change with the tide. It can be hard, so that's why I wanted to make a video on it, just to at least give you an idea of what you want to sort of look for. So first thing you want to do is in your ads manager, you want your columns set up. Okay, so you can change this as per your discretion. I use most of the default ones, but I add a few on. So you want to add your cost per click. I believe that's in there by default. Relevant score I find is irrelevant. Website add to baskets, website purchases, unique click-through rate, and return. Website return on ad spend. So if I put that there, it doesn't have to be in this exact order, and you save it as a custom column. Like it can be anything. I just name it number one. Really doesn't matter. The reason that you want that is you want to see how much cost per click is. If it's anything around $1, then it's fine. I think this time of year things are a bit more expensive going into winter area. People changing their catalogs and stuff like that. So if you see that, that's part of the reason why. You obviously want to just see how many add to baskets you have. Like I have a number of ads that are actually quite unprofitable but have a lot of add to baskets, and I see them slowly increasing still. I actually leave it on just because of DPA ads, but now I am being a bit more aggressive with that. That's because I have the budget to do so. For you starting out, I would definitely suggest not doing that. So you want to look at your website add to basket. Your return on ad spend is basically how much you've spent, how much you've made in purchases divided by how much you've spent. So if you've gotten a $50 purchase and you've spent $5, then your ROAS will be 10, because 10 times 5 or 50 divided by 5 is 10. So it'll be a number 1, 2, 3, 2.5, whatever. Okay. As long as a whole, you're sitting around 2, then you're fine. Because the good thing is with admitted, then you're going to make that money back. Okay, so a bit of that money back, and then you're going to do other stuff as well along the line to get that back, mainly retargeting. And I'll run into a retargeting momentarily. But so you use your add to basket, your ROAS, obviously your purchases, just to see the actual amount of purchases attributed to that ad. And then your unique click-through rate. Okay, so unique click-through rate, anything over 1 to 1.5% is considered decent. The higher you are there, the better it is. Okay, so those are the main columns that I pretty much use. I don't use a lot of columns. There's lots of columns to add. It is important that you do this because by default, it has a lot of stuff you don't need. Like even if you have video website watches, you don't need to video watches 100%. There's actually one for video engagement if you wanted to look at that. But for the most part, you just want columns that meet what you need. And with my strategy, mine's purely for purchases. So I want purchases. Now, one thing to definitely don't get mixed up on is unique click-through rate, and then there's like unique CTR. All they are very different stats. You want to see the unique click-through all is a combination, I believe, of clicking the ad as well as like the actual picture or DPA or catalog, whatever, or video. But unique click-through is actually people that click through to your actual website. Okay, it's a far more valuable stat. Personally, I find a number of these stats are just absolutely useless. I don't know. I don't know who really uses them for e-com. They're not really useful. Website leads, if you are getting emails, yeah. Add to wish list. If you do have wish list software on your website, you might want to add that, but I don't add that. Checkout initiated is something that I have started adding. You can add that one if you want to get an idea of people that are adding to basket to check out. So that is another good one. If you do want to add it, it's not absolutely an absolute necessity. A lot of these are useless, and you can just see that as a whole that most of these are just generally useless. The reason I wanted to explain that is because it is important to know what you're looking at to then determine how to take action, okay? The problem that you'll start getting as you'll scale is you'll get a lot of sales that aren't attributed to Facebook. That is one of the biggest headaches ever, including myself. It's just because you don't know. As a result, like an ad can be 10 times ROAS and it could go down to 2 because somehow Facebook hasn't attributed it, because with shares, a lot of time with shares and that, it doesn't attribute them properly, just due to how they have the algorithm. I mean, there's a limit to what they can do. I respect that. But basically, now that you sort of have the columns set up that you need set up to do this, now you need to know what to look for, basically. So your cost per click, you ideally want $1 lower. Anything lower than $1 in terms of cost per click. Add to basket, obviously, as many as possible. Your return on ad spend, as much as possible, of course. Purchases, as many as possible. Unique click-through rate, anything over 1%, I define as good. When you target worldwide and Europe and that, it usually is just very low because you get a lot more link clicks, but as a result, the click-through rate is very low. But if you're UK, US, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, starting with those, then you want to look at 1%. Okay, once you start going out, like as I said, my conversion rate's taken a hit because I'm hitting more countries and I get a lot more link clicks, and but as a result, my conversion rate's dropped. So it's 2.8% from last month of 3.4, and that happens. This month, I will admit as well for myself, hasn't been a hugely profitable month so far. It's just been last month was extremely good. This month, still getting a lot of sales, but the ad spend has just gone up a bit high, so I'm having to restructure myself, okay? Now, I'm saying that purely just because this is how the game works. You're going to have really good months, and then you're going to have a really average month, and then you're going to have a bad month, okay? But you've got to remember that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that's why I wanted to explain this, because there is light at the end of the tunnel, and even for myself, again, I'm no different. As you can just pretty much see, just from me saying this, I'm not doing extremely well this month either. And I say that because we're all the same, right? Like, most people aren't making any profit from this. 95% of people aren't making anything from this. Most people aren't. So even if you're making $500 a week, that's a lot of money. Even less is a lot of money, okay? So what I'm trying to emphasize is don't get caught up in the big numbers. Even I've been caught up in the big numbers at times, but at the end of the day, what really matters is how much you're getting in your back pocket, okay? That's why you use Admitted. If you're not using Admitted, watch my video on Admitted. You get 8% back on your purchases. Make sure as well, in most countries, like here in Australia, with your tax, you actually can claim back, obviously, your cost of expenses, 10% here in Australia. Other countries, that's different. You can do that, as well as obviously other various expenses to try and get money back. Obviously, you don't get that back until tax time, but it's important that you do that, because it is money that you can have, all right? And that's pretty much it for like your cold traffic. For a DPA, I don't have a catalog. Oh wait, do I have a catalog set up for this? So again, let's just make catalog. So I think I spelled that wrong. I can never spell that word properly. Whoops, not split test. Okay, I think I'm in there, dumb-man. That's it, dumb-man. And if you want to buy me, that's how much I'm worth. But again, let's just call it catalog. I can't be bothered spelling it properly. But for catalog, as you can see, again, I use the same sort of metrics, okay? So catalog DPA, catalog sales is what Facebook call it. Most people call it DPA, dynamic product ads. You use the same metrics, but you will find that your DPA ads are far more profitable than your cold traffic ones. Okay, so for me, with my cold traffic ones, to put it in perspective, I'm averaging now 2.4 overall, whereas my DPA is 6.4. Right? And so I'm actually just full on lowering my budget of my ads, and I'm finding again that lower budget ad sets work better. So I am going back and sort of refreshing, and I'm going to be doing more very low budget duplication ads because they're far easier to be profitable, far less stressful. And use your automated rule to slowly scale them again, okay? And then slowly scale until the point where it's just not worth it, and then dupe it at a lower budget again and just sort of start fresh. I don't know exactly why that works so well on Facebook. Logically speaking, it shouldn't. But again, this is what I emphasize, is that there is no one perfect strategy. You know, my strategy, I try and keep it simple because I don't want to overcomplicate it, because Facebook ads gets overcomplicated where, again, we look at the data, which is a logical sense, but again, we don't know what might be happening in that time of year at that country. We don't know. There's a lot of things that can be causing this type of outcome. So it's important that you understand this and that you start low. So that's why I say, again, start $5 budgets. You can even, people in the group been doing $2 budgets. It doesn't matter. Don't do 50 cent, don't do $1, at least $2, okay? You want to at least do $2. So you can imagine if you got $2 and you got a $50 sale, that's some really good ad spend. And you do that once a day for an entire week and you've made $200. All right, so my point is here is to take it slow, use these metrics. Now, again, with your catalog ads, they do work. The metrics are pretty much the exact same. You want to look at your cost per click. Your cost per click will be lower. So again, to put it into context, my cost per click for my main ones is now $1 exact as an average whole. Whereas if I look at my catalog, it's 45 cents because they've gone from cold to warm and nearly hot. All right, and so it is a very big difference in metric in terms of what data you're going to see. And that's why with catalog, with your remarketing for Facebook, you'll probably end up, you'll be comfortable spending more because you'll be getting a far higher return on ad spend. So you want to do that, okay? And catalog ads work off impressions. So if you have $1,000 ad and it only has 50 people in impression, it's not going to spend that $1,000. It's only going to spend, $20, $30 anyway. All right. So it's very important that you know this. I just wanted to at least give you an outline of that, because I see a lot of people saying, like, how do I do this? How do I do that? All right. So you need these columns set up. You need to jump into your ad sets. You need to have a look at them and evaluate them on a broad scale, and then break down. So like the main metrics I look at is, I imagine many of you will be targeting women by default, which is perfectly fine. So you'll know that you can't optimize for that because you're already targeting women. Business locations is useless. I've never really used it. Age is something you can do. So as I said, because I do 25 plus, for me, my audience is women 25. Overall, most of the time is 35 to 54. 35 to 54 year old women. And that's for my cold traffic, but then for my catalog, 25 to 34 year old women actually do very well, because sometimes they might just take a couple of times for them to actually convert, basically. So having a look at that, that's very important that you do look at age. It is obviously, because I haven't done any marketing, I don't have any data on this pixel. So age is definitely one you want to look at, again, with these columns. Gender, again, I imagine most of you are doing mostly targeting women, so nothing really. Country, obviously, if you're targeting however many countries, and you really sort of see some data in the United Kingdom that's doing really well, then you might want to duplicate that ad and make a new ad to United Kingdom. Region, you might find that in the United Kingdom that England does very well. as opposed to, I believe Ireland's a part of United Kingdom anyway, but like other area, Wales and stuff, is part of actual UK, that you might find that just don't convert, and you don't know why. At times, there's just no reason that you can logically come up with why, and that's why it's important to get yourself out of the frame of mind of our pride gets in the way, including myself. A lot of people's pride does get in the way when it comes to marketing, that we all sort of think that we're right and that everyone else is wrong. Well, at the end of the day, no one's right, no one's wrong. The market is right, all right? So everyone can agree with that. It's just a simple approach. I just go by what the market tells me, and if the market tells me I'm wrong, well then the market's told me the story. So then you got DMA. I never use DMA. Useless. Impression device being desktop, mobile, iPhone, mobile, Samsung, and you will find, again, for cold traffic as opposed to DPA, very different. So that's why it's important to look at these metrics. So let me put it in perspective. So for my cold traffic ads, mostly Instagram is doing very well for me. All right. So, but then for my catalog ads, Facebook does very well for me, much better than Instagram for remarketing, in fact. So Instagram gets a 4.5 average ROAS on most of my ads, just as an average calculation, whereas Instagram gets 4.5, whereas Facebook gets about 6.5. It's very interesting. I'm even looking in the next couple of days, going back and trying to target Facebook more to see if maybe I have enough data that I might be able to optimize better on Facebook. So it's important that you look at that data. I even actually found that audience network, which I absolutely hate. For DPA, I've gotten about 10 sales from it, and it's highly profitable. I'm sort of, what? Obviously, it's only spent a little bit of budget there, but it worked. And so you can see how it is very different. Audience network, I was astonished by that. You will be astonished by the results you see for your remarketing with a DPA ad, leaving it very broad and letting it do its work. Okay, you will get very different results. That's why it's important to have the right columns and then look at the right metrics to then determine how you move forward. Okay, and everyone is different, but I just want to give a blanket approach to how you should be looking at this, because it is very important. Okay, so then you have platform. So again, Facebook, Instagram, audience network, Messenger, all of those you want to look at just to get an overhead view. So make sure to have a look at that. Platform is Facebook or Instagram. Placement is the audience network in that. Sorry, my bad. I don't look at placement device, product ID, time of day. You can actually optimize for the base for time of day. I don't like it. I just don't like it, because then I'm just excluding way too much, it feels. So I leave that out. So basically, once you have these columns set up, then you want to look at age, country, region over time, impression device, platform, and placement. Those are the main ones you want to look at, and that's why my strategy of having a large audience works. Because let's say, right, you have an audience, because a lot of people see that, you need the perfect audience, etc., etc. Think of it like this. Part of the reason that I also say you need 2 to 10 million is that for future scaling. All right, so when you start at 250,000 and you've got the big 5 countries in there, women 25 to 65 plus, that's a good audience. And then you find that for some reason that 55 to 65 year old women convert the best, and so you naturally then I'll try and optimize for this. So you try and optimize for it, and you find of that 250,000 that there's 15,000 of that people, and you're going to churn through 15,000 people. Even at $5 budget, you're still going to churn through 15,000 people within a week or two. And so it's just not enough to really, try and actually do something with it, really, because you're going to churn through that audience. You're not really going to be able to come from make lookalikes from it or anything. You'll get data, but you can see how if you then have like a 5 million people audience, and then you've, under the same circumstances, find that 55 to 64 year old women converting best, 5 million, and I don't know, I'm going to try and use the same ratio, so excuse me if I'm wrong, but let's say it's 200,000. All right, so so you're going from 15,000 to 200,000 people audience, and you can see how that'll last you on low budgets anyway, a month to 2 months, and then you can comfortably scale that a bit more. So it gives you more flexibility down the line. The misconception that you need a perfect audience and a small audience to begin with is a lie. That might have been different, I feel, a few years ago, maybe when Facebook didn't have as much data, possibly, but I think that's purely a myth personally. But nowadays Facebook has so much data, and obviously every day their algorithm and their programmers are always improving it, that it doesn't matter how it doesn't matter if your audience is 10 million on a $2 budget. Facebook knows that you're saying to Facebook that I'm going to pay you $2 a day so that you can find me someone that's going to buy my product, and it will do that. That's why I use this strategy, because I just want to tell Facebook exactly what it wants to hear. Again, we always hear that the best results you get is a very clear, defined strategy, whether that's in marketing, whether that's in your teamwork, whether that's in cleaning your car. If you have a clear idea of what you're doing, then you're going to get a far more clear result. So that's why I use this. And as you see, again, I don't do anything absolutely amazing. I'm no god, and I never want to be. I keep it simple, and for the most part it works. I don't want to make $1 million a month. I really, really don't care. What I want to do is just make enough to get by, and that's what I'm trying to say to you all, is that following this simple strategy of making Facebook ads, making a broad audience that you can target with, sort of nice ad copy to nice landing page and website experience as a whole, you will get success at some point, and that's what I'm really trying to promote here. Alright, so I do apologise if I've sounded a bit off today. Been a bit tired, exhausted, so you'll have to forgive me there. But I hope you have enjoyed today's video. I am, again, trying to tailor more videos to what I see as the daily needs. I have plenty of videos in the making. Don't forget to join Shopify Dropshipping Lifestyle. I am doing a few more one-on-ones. I want to do it partly just because I want to build up some more rapport in the group, as well as obviously just help out. It's really nice and get to meet new people. It's been fantastic. As well as tomorrow at midday my time, Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time, will be when I'm hosting the live. Okay, now there has been a few issues with the integration with the application that I use, so I do apologize, but if you can attend, that would be great. If you can't, I have also decided every week to do a live at least once a week for half an hour to an hour, and I want to do it based off answering your questions. So doing it via text works well, but doing it live I think will just work even better, because then you can see my thought processes, that I'm not one shammer, and I can answer your questions in a quicker fashion. We can roll through it and we can all learn from it. Okay, so that's one of the projects that I'm trying to improve as a work in progress. I am, again, still working on the back end of YouTube, so to try and improve that experience for you all. The playlist, there's a lot in the bag. I've got some of my friends who are going to be doing some videos in the group, which is absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much. I've got some potential lives with some people lined up in the near future, which is exciting as well. So there's a lot to come in the group. The group's absolutely exploding now. Like, what was it? I checked this morning, there was 50 members overnight that wanted to join. Obviously overnight, for me anyway, is where a lot of people in a lot of the countries that want to join the group are awake, and it's daytime. So that's my peak time for people to join the group. But it's grown by about 50 to 70 people a day, which is insane, and that's why I really want to capitalize on this and really sort of grow the group. Okay, but aside from that, if you have liked today's video, please drop a like. Always appreciate that. Comment below if you have any questions or feedback, and any what am I saying? So don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And one other thing I wanted to add as well is that I don't know how I missed this, but I got a little video made for an intro video, and somehow I forgot to notice that there was no F put in Shopify, which is embarrassing. So thank you to the person, I've forgotten your name, who has identified that. I also want to add that if you are someone out there that identifies I guess a fundamental or just an issue that I've overlooked, which happens, and you advise me, I will be providing you some free support through a PM. I'll answer a number of your questions to help you out, because you've helped me out. I mean, I want to do that to people anyway, but it's really just a way of me honestly saying thank you to you all. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So don't forget to, if you can, be available for tomorrow's live. I will be there for 1 to 2 hours to answer your questions, and we'll take it from there. But until tomorrow's video, you all have a lovely day and take care. Thank you very much. Goodbye.